deep beneath the streets of Manhattan, 80 feet below the bedrock, lies a fortress. Behind a 90-ton revolving steel cylinder sits the largest accumulation of gold in human history, 7,000 tons of pure yellow metal. It produces nothing. It pays no dividends. It just sits there, silent and heavy. But if gold is a barbarous relic, as the experts tell us, if it's obsolete and useless in our modern digital world, then why are the most powerful central banks on Earth currently hoarding it at record levels? Why are they buying more of it today than at any time since the height of the Cold War? The answer is something they hope you never realize, because if you truly understood why that gold is there, you would stop trusting the numbers on your screen today. You would realize that for the last 50 years, we have been living through the greatest financial experiment in history, one that is designed to fail, and one that is designed to take everything you've worked for with it. Welcome to the Empire of Money. Today, we aren't just looking at history. We are investigating a global crime scene. We are uncovering how gold was stripped of its power and how you were forced into a digital prison where the walls are made of interest rates and the ceiling is a printing press. To understand the magnitude of what was lost, we must first understand the spirit of gold. Gold is not just a metal, it is a chemical miracle. It does not tarnish, it does not rust, and most importantly, it cannot be lied into existence. For 5,000 years, this was the divine discipline. If a king wanted to double his army, he couldn't just print the money to do it. He had to physically find the gold. This meant that the economy was grounded in the laws of physics, not the whims of politicians. Gold was a wall that power could not climb over, but power hates discipline. The strategy to kill gold didn't start with a bang. It started with a whisper. In the early 20th century, the great powers of Europe realized they had a problem. They wanted to fight a war on a scale never seen before, World War I. But their gold reserves said no. You cannot buy millions of shells and sustain millions of soldiers with a fixed supply of metal. So, they did something that changed the course of our economic DNA. They suspended the truth. They told their citizens to hand over their gold for the war effort and take paper receipts instead. This was the moment humanity was taught to value the symbol more than the substance. By the 1930s, the deception turned into a mandate. In the middle of the Great Depression, the United States government committed an act of financial treason against its own people. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102. Under the threat of 10 years in prison, ordinary people were forced to sell their real wealth to the government for paper. Why? Because the government needed to print money to save itself, and it couldn't do that as long as the people held the power of gold in their own hands. Once the gold was in the vaults of the state became the god of value. But the final act of this drama happened on a Sunday night, August 15th, 1971. President Richard Nixon walked up to a podium and officially severed the link between the dollar and gold. He promised it was temporary. That temporary suspension has now lasted over half a century. In that single moment, the golden anchor was cut, and humanity drifted into an ocean of pure fiction. This was the birth of the era of debt. Not everyone agrees with this interpretation. Some economists argue fiat systems allow flexibility and rapid growth, but history keeps delivering the same ending. To put this in perspective for the average American, in 1971, the average house in the U.S. cost about $24,000. Today, that same house is nearly $500,000. It isn't that the wood and bricks became 20 times more valuable. It's that the dollar you used to buy them lost 95% of its strength. This is the Cantillon Effect in action. A system where those closest to the printing press The banks and the mega corporations get to spend the new money first, while the rest of society struggles to keep up with the rising cost of survival. By the time that new money reaches you, the prices have already gone up. You aren't just paying more, you're paying for the privilege of being cheated by a system you were never meant to understand. Without gold to stop them, money stopped being a store of value and became a tool of extraction. Since that night in 1971, the world has seen an explosion of debt that is now mathematically impossible to repay. But here is the secret they hide from you. Every time a new dollar is printed, the value isn't created. It is stolen from the hours you have already worked. Every hour you spend away from your family, every drop of sweat you pour into your job, is being diluted by a printing press that never sleeps. You feel it every time you go to the grocery store. You feel it when you look at the price of a home. It's not that things are becoming more valuable. It's that the currency in your pocket is dying. We have traded the stability of our ancestors for the anxiety of the modern age. Under the gold standard, people saved for generations. They built cathedrals that took 100 years to finish because they knew their money would still be worth something when the last stone was laid. Today, we build disposable skyscrapers and live in a disposable culture. When the money is dying, everyone wants to consume now, borrow now, and ignore the future. This is the time preference shift. The debt machine has forced us to live for the moment because it has stolen our ability to save for the future. We are no longer working for money. We are working to service a system of credit that requires infinite growth to survive. It is a treadmill that is moving faster every day, and we are reaching the point where the machine can no longer keep up with its own lies. If gold is so obsolete, why are the world's central banks still guarding it in underground fortresses? Why have they been buying gold at the highest rate in 50 years? Because they know the fundamental rule of history. Paper empires always burn, but gold remains. They are hoarding the truth while they sell you the illusion. They know that when the global debt mountain finally collapses under its own weight, the only thing left standing will be the heavy yellow metal that has outlived every empire in history. We are currently standing at the edge of a historical reset. The era of infinite debt is hitting the wall of physical reality. As the trust in paper promises begins to dissolve, the world is inevitably being drawn back to the weight of the truth. This documentary is your map out of the illusion. You're living through a transition that happens once in several centuries. Gold didn't lose its power because it failed. It was suppressed because it worked too well. It told governments no. It protected your time, your labor, and your reality. Once you understand the difference between a system of control and a store of value, the machine loses its power over you. The history of money is the history of power. Those who do not understand it are destined to serve those who do. We are at a crossroads where the virtual meets the tangible, and the choices you make in this decade will define your place in the next empire. Gold didn't lose its power because it became old-fashioned. It was suppressed because it was the only thing that couldn't be controlled. You see, gold is the only financial asset that is not someone else's liability. If you own it, you don't need a government's permission or a bank's computer system for it to be real. We are currently standing at the edge of a massive historical cycle. The era of infinite debt is running out of time, and the world is starting to look back at that 90-ton steel door in Manhattan. They want us to believe that money is just a number on a screen, a floating promise that they can dilute whenever they choose. But reality is a stubborn thing. The empire of money was built on the theft of your time, powered by a currency that is designed to rot. But once you understand the difference between a store of value and a system of control, the illusion loses its grip on you. This isn't just about investing in gold. It's about investing in the truth. We are returning to an age where the tangible will once again matter more than the virtual. As the paper empires begin to smoke, the weight of reality is coming back. This isn't just a history lesson, it's your wake-up call. The world is shifting again. Central banks are loading up on gold for a reason. They are preparing for a system reset. If the system reset tomorrow, what would you be holding? A stack of dying promises, or something the world has valued for 5,000 years? The choice is no longer about economics. It's about survival. Don't just be a spectator in the empire of money. Be a strategist. Diversify your wealth, protect your time, and move your energy into assets that can't be printed away. Make sure you're on the right side of history. Subscribe to the Empire of Money, and don't let the illusion take you down with it. The clock is ticking.